James Michael Wrights presents It Was Always You by James Michael. Read to you by James Michael and friends. To all of the loves of my life, you are worth it. You have all contributed to a dream for a future that I will never stop chasing. Thank you for being a part of my journey. With love, James. Prologue. Life is like one of those choose-your-own-adventure books. I used to love those books when I was younger. I never read them properly, though. I wouldn't stick to the ending that I got if I didn't like it. If I didn't end up with the girl, I would go back to the previous choice and choose the other option. All I wanted was to end up with the girl. I didn't care if we were on a sandy beach, in a cabin on a snowy mountain, or stuck in the past during the days of the dinosaurs. It was always about the girl. Life isn't exactly like those books, though. Or should I say, life doesn't work the way those books worked for me. You make decisions, and those decisions lead to consequences that you may be able to predict, but you never know for certain. If you don't like the place you ended up, you can't go back in time and change the decision that you made and choose a happier ending. You're stuck. You can kick and scream all you want, but all the wishing in the world won't change a thing. Instead, you do your best with the next decision and hope that it leads you back to the path that you wanted. Hi, my name is Charlie. I'm a hopeless romantic, and as I mentioned above, I'm looking for someone. There are a lot of things I'm afraid of. Heights, death, not making a difference in the world before I die, but more than all of those things, I'm afraid that I'll make it to the end of my life and find out that I've never felt the real, true, unconditional, passionate love that I've always dreamt of. I've heard that it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Well, I believe that. But I also know that loving is not my problem. Statistically speaking, I've probably fallen in love with more girls than I haven't, and while a reasonable person might take those experiences and decide to start protecting themselves from relationships, to me, it just makes the love story that I will eventually be a part of that much more magical. Wow, this is so cool. Of all the books you could have picked up, and here you are with mine. What are the odds? Well, first let me say thanks. I really appreciate you giving me a chance. I hope that as we get to know each other, we also discover things about ourselves. That's always my favorite part about meeting new people. Do you do this a lot? I mean, I always say I like reading, but if that were judged solely on how often I pick up a book, it isn't nearly as often as I would lead people to believe. I do think there is something universally romantic about the idea of curling up with a good book, maybe on a rainy day or by a fire with only the comfiest of blankets. Whew. Did you just get goosebumps? No? Maybe it was just me. If it's not books, what does your perfect relaxing day look like? I don't mean sleeping either. That's cheating. Everyone loves sleeping. I mean those days when you have all the energy in the world to do exactly what you want to relax, where you are at your most comfortable and just feel content. What is it for you? I bet you were considering saying streaming some shows, but didn't want to say it because it feels shallow or something. But I love that idea. I love binging shows. I can set the same scene with Netflix as I can with a book, and it's not shallow at all. I love streaming for the same reason I love books. Stories. Our lives are lived in stories. It's how we get to know each other. It's how we fall in love. Stories can break our hearts and fix them. They let us see the things we love most in our worst enemies and warn us from becoming what we stand against. Now I've got myself all worked up about stories. I would love to hear your stories. I know we've just met, so it might be kind of scary to share, so how about this? I'll start with a story, and then you can share your story. Deal? I know just the one to start with. Chapter 1. Marie. We had the same class. Mrs. Shepard's PM class at Lower Central Elementary School in the middle of Moore, Oklahoma. Before I moved on to middle school, Mrs. Shepard actually found me and showed me a ring I had given her when she was my teacher. It was a small orange plastic ring that looked like it had come out of a cereal box. Apparently, I told her I would marry her. It was really nice of her to keep it all those years, and I wish I had remembered giving it to her, but I didn't. It was so nice to find out that it meant something to her. I do have some fun memories from her class, and I was always a teacher's pet in those days. They couldn't help it. I was adorable. But most of my memories are with my friends, not with my teacher. It made me sad to not remember giving her the ring. I wondered if she was as scared of not making a difference as I was, as I still am. And it made me wonder if she felt like my not remembering meant that she hadn't made a difference. Well, if it did make her feel that way, I hope she reads this book so that she can know that even though I don't remember giving her the ring, I will never forget the fact that she kept it, and that may be one of the best lessons I've ever learned on how to treat people and make them feel special. I don't remember how Marie became my girlfriend, but I do remember how it ended. I remember chasing her and her friends on the playground during recess, and as we were crossing the basketball court, Miss Shepherd, who was standing underneath the goal, yelled to us,
"Why are you girls running from them? The boys should be running from you."
We all stopped and looked at each other for just a moment, and then the group of girls all started sprinting in my direction. I turned around and took off. I spent the better part of the next 3 years running from girls, and with every step I took, I loved the idea that there was someone who thought I was worth chasing. I had so much fun being chased, and I'm pretty sure that if accurate records were kept, I would be credited with inventing parkour. We had a pretty big playground. It included a soccer field, 2 baseball diamonds, a basketball court, 2 jungle gyms, 4 sets of swings, 2 on either side of the basketball court, tetherball where boys became men, slides that would take your backside from rare to well done in less than 15 feet on a hot day, and plenty of fields of just grass and weeds. I remember picking honeysuckle weeds with my friends and licking them to see if we could taste honey. We always said we did, but I don't remember for sure whether I ever did taste any honey. Marie and I were always playing together. She was the Tiger Lily to my Peter Pan. She was the April O'Neil to my Leonardo. I'm talking about the Ninja Turtles if you didn't know. And for the record, I don't believe April was ever romantically involved with any of the turtles, but Leonardo was the leader and April was the only possible romantic interest, so that is how my mind did the pairing. She would be in trouble, I could always count on Shredder to abduct her, and I would save the day. I remember one day Marie hadn't joined the game yet, but Shredder had set a pretty clever trap for me and my friends on the chin-up bars. There was one that was just low enough for me to be able to grab without leaving the ground, and when I grabbed it, I was instantly cuffed to the bar. I couldn't get away no matter how hard I tried. Well, that was when Marie saw her opportunity. She and her friend Janetta came up to check on me, seeing I was in distress. I explained the situation, but she didn't seem to grasp the severity of my predicament. I was about to be turned into turtle soup. Well, once I got done telling her the story, she perked up on her tippy toes, leaned in, and kissed me right on the lips. I felt very conflicted. The part of me that was 6 years old thought, gross! But the part of me that loved getting chased understood that this was the inevitable conclusion, and this kiss was just confirmation that I was someone worth being chased. Marie was the cutest girl I had ever seen. I was way too young to consider words like pretty and beautiful. She had tan skin and long dark brown hair, which made her big doe eyes seem to sparkle in the afternoon sun. So when she kissed me, I got a little smirk. Then, out of nowhere, Janetta swooped in and smacked one on me as well. When that happened, a strength welled up inside me that can only be described as teenage, mutant, and ninja. I broke free of my restraints, and I ran as far away as I could. Any thoughts of Marie were gone. Girls were gross. That was all I knew for sure. Sometimes my folks would coordinate playdates with Marie's mom, and she would come over. I had no chill whatsoever. I would be so hyper trying to impress her with all my toys or how super fast I was. She was always nice enough to play along. I remember one summer after 2nd grade, I got invited to go eat lunch and see a movie with her and her family. I remember that it was the first time I'd done anything like that. I tried to think of all the things a boyfriend is supposed to do for a girlfriend while on a date. I opened doors for her. I remember pulling her chair out for her and helping her push it in once she was in it, which proved to be much more difficult because I was only 8 years old and she couldn't touch the ground from her seat. We went and saw the movie The Secret Garden. What a horrible movie for a little boy to watch. I wanted some ninjas and excitement, but there was none of that. Marie and I sat next to each other, and I'm not sure if it was out of politeness to pretend like I was enjoying the movie, or if I was nervous being on what I saw as a grown-up date, but I did not look in her direction the entire movie. After the movie, they took me home, and there was no special ending to the night or anything like that. They pulled into my driveway and let me out, made sure I made it inside, and drove away. I don't know if my parents didn't know or decided not to tell me, but it wasn't until the first day of 3rd grade that I found out that Marie had moved to Texas. I don't remember it affecting me much, but I do remember staring blankly out a few windows, wondering if I would ever see her again. Later that year, I thought I saw Marie's grandpa at school. I recognized him because he had frequently come to the school and eaten lunch with her over the years when she went there, and I had seen him at all of her birthday parties. He was bald with the same tan skin that Marie had, and he almost always wore his hat that indicated that he had served in the Korean War. I never had a chance to say anything to him, not that I would have had much to say anyways. Later that day, for some reason, we were having a class party and enjoying some cake before dismissal. Everyone in class was up walking around and eating their cake. I was standing next to my friend Colt. He turned and asked the teacher,
"Can I tell him now?"
The teacher nodded. I remembered laughing and playing kind of aloof, thinking I was about to get some sort of surprise and wanted to have my best "thank you so much" face ready. I'd forgotten all about seeing Marie's grandpa earlier. Colt explained that while he was waiting for the search bus, he saw Marie's grandpa and had said hi. So it was him! I saw him too! I just knew Colt was about to tell me that Marie was coming back to school. Colt put his hand on my shoulder.
"I'm sorry to tell you this, but Marie was in a car accident and died."
It was just like I had seen in the movies. It was as if I was spiraling down a set of binoculars and the world was zooming in on just me. I put down my bowl of cake and walked over to the window, wishing that I could see her grandpa so that I could run out to him and have him tell me that Colt was wrong. I started to cry. I'd never cried so hard. I couldn't think about anything but her the rest of the class. I just stared out the window and cried and tried to see her shape in the grooves of the pane of glass. My teacher tried to comfort me, but all I wanted was information, and no one seemed to have any. I was sure that if I had been with her, then I could have saved her. I cried the rest of class and the whole way home on the bus. I tried so hard to see her in my mind. I tried to see her brown hair and caramel skin. It seemed like lifetimes since I had seen her, but if anyone ever asked, I always told them that Marie was my girlfriend, and we had been boyfriend-girlfriend since kindergarten. I'm not sure when I stopped crying, and I don't remember ever talking to anyone about it after that day. I never attended her funeral. I'm not sure if my parents got the details or not, but at that point in my life, I had lost 12 family members, including my papa, within the last 3 years, and I did not do well with funerals, so there's a good chance that they may just not have wanted me to go, especially if it had been out of state. I remember so much about that day and have thought about it so many times over the years, wondering if there was another path I could have chosen. Marie had been one of my best friends. She was the first example in my life that spending time with a girl other than my mom could be fun. That news had brought a darkness to my world that I have never found my way out from under. From that day on, Marie would be the girl that all others would be measured against.